first graders, it's Mrs. Hannah again. I'm here to read Strega Nona's Magic Lessons to you by Tomie to Paola. And I'm wondering if yesterday when you heard Big Anthony and the Magic Ring, if you thought of any words to describe Big Anthony. I wonder if you'll think the same thing after you hear this story, Strega Nona's Magic Lessons. This is by Tomie to Paola, of course. Bambolona, the baker's daughter, was angry. Every summer, fall, winter, and spring, she had to get up before the sun to bake the bread. Then, piling the loaves on her head, she went to deliver them. But her work wasn't finished. Rushing back to the bakery, she had to mix the flour and salt and water and yeast and set the dough to rise for tomorrow's bread. Don't forget, her father the baker would say, to make the cookies and bake the cakes. And remember, Bambolona, to clean up everything spick and span. I'm going now to see my friends. And off he would go to sit all day in the square of the little town in Calabria. One day Bambolona said, "Papa, there is too much work to do. I need some help." "Get up earlier," her father said. "But I get up now before the sun," said Bambolona, "and I'm the last one in town to get to bed." "That's the way things are," her father said, as he went out the door on his way to the square. "And don't forget," he called back, "you have a wedding cake to bake." That did it. Bambolona dusted the flour from her hands and took off her apron. "I'm going to change the way things are," she said. "I'll go see Strega Nona. She's so wise. She'll help me." "I think I know how to help you," Strega Nona said, after hearing Bambolona's sad tale. "So many people come to see me with their troubles. I could certainly use some help. Why not stay with me, and I will teach you my magic?" "Oh, Strega Nona," said Bambolona, "thank you." "We'll start today," said Strega Nona. Now, Big Anthony, who worked around the house and in the garden for Strega Nona, was listening. He was always listening to what other people were talking about instead of working. "Strega Nona," he shouted, running into the house. "Me too! Teach me your magic too!" "Oh, Anthony," Strega Nona said with a smile, "I can't do that. Why don't you go and milk the goat?" Now Big Anthony was the one who was angry. "I'll show Strega Nona," he muttered. "I'll just go and work for the baker now that Bambolona has left." Down the hill Big Anthony ran. Why do you think Big Anthony is angry? That's right, because Strega Nona wouldn't let him learn her magic too. The baker hired him on the spot. "The first thing you do is mix the dough," the baker told Big Anthony. "Put in this much flour, this much salt, this much water, and this much yeast." He looked very hard at Big Anthony's smiling face. "Do you understand? The yeast makes the dough rise. Now mix it right away, and by the time I get back at 6 o'clock, the dough will be ready to make into loaves." "Si, senor. Yes, sir," Big Anthony said. The baker walked out the door and toward the square. The baker is going to hang out with his friends in the middle of the town, like he was on this page. They call that the square. So the baker also made sure that Big Anthony understood what yeast is. Yeast is what you mix in the dough to make the bread get big and puffy. It makes the bread yummy. I'll just look at everything first, said Big Anthony, poking around. Cookies! He ate one, then another. Cakes! He ate one, then another. Big Anthony ate them all. In fact, he was still eating when the clock in the square struck 4. Mamma mia, said Big Anthony. I forgot to mix the dough. It won't rise in time. Ah, I know. The yeast makes the dough rise. I'll just put in a lot more of that, and the dough will rise much faster. I'll still have time for a nap, he said when he got through. He sat down and promptly fell asleep. Do you think it was a good idea that Big Anthony put in so much extra yeast? I wonder what will happen. Oh, goodness. Out! Shouted the baker, for what a sight he saw when he returned. Oh, my goodness. Big Anthony put in way too much yeast, and it made the dough for the bread get puffier and puffier and puffier. What a mess. I wonder if Big Anthony has done something like that before. What's the matter, Big Anthony? Asked Senora Rosa. The baker threw me out. Now I have no job, he answered. And it's Strega Nona's fault. I never would have left her house if she had let me learn to be a Strega. Silly goose, said Senora Rosa. Who ever heard of a man being a Strega? All of a sudden, Big Anthony's eyes lit up, and off he ran. If his eyes lit up, what do you think that means? Think he has an idea? To cure a headache, you must first fill the bowl with water, Strega Nona was telling Bambolona. Next, you add a few drops of olive oil. Then you say these magic words. Knock, knock, knock. Strega Nona went to the door. Oh, Strega Nona, said a tall girl standing there. All my life I've wanted to learn your magic. Will you teach me, please? Santo cielo, dear me, said Strega Nona. What is your name, my dear girl? Antonia, said the girl. Why do you want to learn my magic, Antonia? Strega Nona asked. Oh, so that I can help people, said Antonia. Ever since I was a little girl, I've wanted to become a Strega. Ah, in that case, said Strega Nona, come right in. This is Bambolona. She's learning my magic, too. Bambolona stared at Antonia and then at Strega Nona. How nice, 2 girls to teach, Strega Nona said. She smiled at Bambolona, and then she began. To learn magic and practice it well, she said, you must learn to see and not to see. You must learn to remember and to forget, to be still and be busy. But mostly, you must be faithful to your work. Do you understand, my dears? See, said Bambolona. No, said Antonia. When are we going to learn how to do the magic things? In time, said Strega Nona. Now, let's practice some of the magic words. Repeat in the right order after me. Soon, Bambolona said all of them by heart. Antonia kept mixing them up. Bambolona learned the cure for headaches. Antonia didn't. Bambolona learned how to make love potions. Antonia didn't. Bambolona learned how to get rid of warts. Antonia didn't. Look at those bumps on his nose. Those are called warts. It looks like Antonia made them worse. Bambolona, said Strega Nona, I think you're ready now to learn more powerful magic. This is my special book. It is very ancient and contains many magic secrets. Tomorrow we will begin with it. Oh, grazie, Strega Nona, said Bambolona. Me too, Strega Nona? Asked Antonia. Not yet, Antonia, said Strega Nona. You have other things to learn. Strega Nona said this book was ancient. What do you think the word ancient means? That's right, it means really, really old. That night, while everyone slept, Antonia crept into Strega Nona's house. Bambolona thinks she's so smart, said Antonia. I'll just read that book tonight, and tomorrow I'll surprise her and Strega Nona. Do you think this character is really Antonia? Or do you think it looks like someone else? The next morning, Antonia was looking very tired. Antonia, said Strega Nona, watch and listen. Come, Bambolona, we will start. Oh, wait, shouted Antonia. I have a surprise. I know some real magic. Watch me turn that iron kettle into a golden one. Are you sure, Antonia? Said Strega Nona, frowning. Yes, oh yes, said Antonia, beginning to mutter some strange-sounding words. But she stopped. Wait, I remember now. She began again. Be careful, Antonia, warned Bambolona. Magic can't be fooled with. I've got it now, Antonia said. She muttered some more words. Suddenly, there was a bright flash, some smelly smoke, and the iron kettle was still there. This is the kettle that they're talking about. Antonia thinks she can turn it into a golden one. But Strega Nona wasn't. Instead, where Strega Nona had been standing was a nice, fat toad. Now see what you've done, cried Bambolona. Oh no, shouted Antonia. Oh, help, somebody, save Strega Nona. What have I done? Strega Nona warned you to be careful with magic. Now she's gone forever, Bambolona said. Strega Nona, wept Antonia, picking up the toad. Forgive me, please, Bambolona. You're so clever, you're so smart. Please change her back again. I promise I'll never play with magic again. I can't change that toad into Strega Nona, said Bambolona. But I can change Antonia into Big Anthony. Bambolona pulled off Antonia's kerchief, and sure enough, there was Big Anthony. Oh, I'll never learn, howled Big Anthony. I'll never learn. Oh, Strega Nona, what have I done to you? Perhaps, said Bambolona, if you really promise to never, ever play with magic again, that will bring Strega Nona back. Do you really think that would work? Said Big Anthony, sobbing. It's worth a try, said Bambolona. Big Anthony put down the toad. He closed his eyes tight and put his hand over his heart. I really promise, that as long as I live, I will never play with magic again. Just please bring Strega Nona back. Do you think that toad is really Strega Nona. I wonder what makes you think that. Do you see a clue in this picture? Look very closely. There was another bright flash, some smelly smoke, and presto, Strega Nona was back. "Where am I?" said Strega Nona. "Oh, I'm in my little house. Whatever happened to me? Hello, Bambolona. And why, Big Anthony, what are you doing here? Where's sweet Antonia?" Oh, look at the little toad. "Tell me, Big Anthony," said Bambolona. "Oh, Strega Nona," said Big Anthony, falling on his knees. He told Strega Nona what he had done. He was so busy crying and talking, he didn't see the nice fat toad hopping past him out the door. Do you think Big Anthony really turned Strega Nona into a toad? Or do you think Strega Nona and Bambolona played a trick on him? "And so, Strega Nona, please," he said, "if you take me back, I promise to be good. I'll do all my chores and I'll never play with magic again." "All right, Anthony," said Strega Nona, smiling. "But before you go back to work, change your clothes. You're wearing Senora Rosa's nicest dress." Do you think Big Anthony was telling the truth? Do you think he'll really leave Strega Nona's magic alone? Stay tuned because there's more Strega Nona stories for you to listen to. I hope you enjoyed this.